We are now recording.
Welcome back to the Caffeinated Comic Club. This is a podcast where Marsh and I talk about all kinds of things when it comes to comics and life and caffeine. And sometimes I cry, and sometimes Marsh doesn't cry. And that's just the vibe that we go for every week. I am Gare. I'm your resident homo. Marsh is our resident straight ally. This is Pride Month. And every week this month, we have a guest on the pod to talk to us about comics and queerness and all things in between. This week, we are welcoming Dorkicle to the pod, aka Finn. How are you doing today, Finn?
I am great. Thanks so much for having me on here.
Absolutely.
Of
What
course.
what is everyone sipping on today? Does everyone have a drink? I'm drinking water.
Okay,
Very good.
okay. Fair enough. So as usual, I have 2 drinks. So that's what we're going with. I'm a Pepsi girly because I just don't do Coke. Pepsi is
Fair enough.
superior. Sorry, Gare.
You've been known to have a cherry Coke every now and then.
You know what I found out? You're right. But you know what I found out? I like it in a bottle. I can't do it out of a can, but I can drink it out of a bottle, which is really weird. But
There is a difference. There is a stark difference, I will say. I'm a really big Diet Coke girly. I have discovered since this medication has changed my taste buds, I really love a Coke Zero now, and Diet Coke doesn't taste good
oh,
anymore. I'm going through a lot at the
int-
moment when it comes to it, but still no Pepsi for me.
that's all right.
Thank God.
I will eventually convert you from Wisconsin.
We will see about that, he says. This week we read Alan Scott, The Green Lantern. I'm not going to dive into it right now because we have other things to talk about, but is anyone else just like raw and tired and sad after reading that book?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That and TikTok made me sad too. So like I read that and cried. And then I got on TikTok and I was like, okay, cool. That's enough TikTok for today too.
What was happening
Yep.
on TikTok?
Sad dad stuff. Dead dad
Oh,
stuff.
period.
So I was like,
Period.
cool, great, cool. And then it was like wholesome Pokemon stuff, but like still like cry worthy stuff. And I was like, all right, I just need
Yep.
to leave. So
I get it. I get it. Finn, what would you say your origin story with comic books are? When did you fall in love with comics? And are there characters like throughout the years or books that like you feel like have intersected with your queerness in any way?
Absolutely. I started reading comic books. I think it's been like 3 years, 3.5. So like still relatively new, but also kind of seasoned. I started because my partner's super into comics. So I started because of him. He made me play Gotham Knights, which admittedly is probably not what you want to use to get into comics. But like I was just obsessed with it. I was obsessed with Barbara. I was obsessed with Barbara. And I was like, yeah, she's in a purple suit. I need to play this character and I need to know more about her. So then I spiraled from there. And as for like queer characters, I find a very weird attachment to like the off-putting, non-binary, gender fluid, gender non-conforming characters. Like Rebus from Doom Patrol is one of my favorite characters ever. I love them so much. And then like Peter Merkel Jr., who was Ragdoll. Love him. Love them so much. I don't know. They're so weird, but like, I don't know. I Porcelain too, that's another one. I love the weird, off-putting queer characters.
What is porcelain from? I haven't heard of
mhm.
porcelain before.
Porcelain is from the I think it 2014 Secret Six. It's only like 12 issues. Gail Simone wrote it, and they're gender fluid, and they're like awesome. I love them so much, and they have like really cool powers. I actually don't even know how to explain it, but like their powers are really cool.
Very cool.
I have not read Secret Six at all. I didn't even know there was one that far back. I've only ever heard of the one that came after John, the Superman son of Kal-El story. After Jonathan stops being Superman and he and his boyfriend join Secret Six, and then apparently the lot of drama happens, and I was like, you know what, I'm never going to read that. So, you though saying that Gail Simone wrote it automatically makes me want to read that.
That's
That
fair.
sounds good.
She has actually written 3. So there's the 2014 one, and then there's 2006 and 2004. Those dates could be, like, a little wishy-washy, but there's 3, and they're really good.
Interesting.
I'm gonna keep that in mind. I've still got to read Birds of Prey. Have the omnibus. Have not started it yet.
Eventually we'll get there, Gary. You and I have the same omnibus. So we can just
I
read it
know
together.
we got it for the pod back in like November. It's been a very quick year. A very quick year.
But
Yeah.
I will say though, it is nice to have you on the pod because you read way more DC stuff than we do. So like you've already named like 3 things I've never read before or even heard of. I was like, perfect. Adding to the list. Great.
Yeah, as I edit the pod tomorrow, I'm be on Amazon being like add, add to try to find things. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Speaking of Birds of Prey, you've read that entire run by Gail Simone, right? Was that something that you read very
Yeah.
early into your love for comics because of Babs, or is that more of a recent thing?
It was extremely early, actually. Because I started it because it starts with Chuck Dixon. So, like, I started it. Like, I got my hands on. Actually, my first comic was Tom Taylor's Nightwing, which is also kind of crazy. But like after that, I wanted to get anything that I could get my hands on, and I found somebody selling the lot of like Chuck Dixon's first 3 volumes on eBay, and I was like, okay, purchase. Like I didn't even really know what it was. I was just like, yep, I'm gonna get that. And then I fell in love with it, and then like I think it was over like maybe like 5 months, I read the entirety of it.
So what you're saying is we should read Chuck Dixon's run into Gail's run. Good to
I
know.
okay, listen.
I mean, I love Chuck
It's
Dixon,
kind of
so he wrote Nightwing. He wrote the 90s Nightwing too, so I haven't read a lot of
Y'all know
DC,
how
but
I
I've
feel
read
about an
some.
AI.
it starts off really good, and then there's some issues that are just like, what did I just read? Like, it's kind of bad,
It's
but
Chuck
like,
Dixon.
I still ate it up. Yep, yep.
I can relate to that journey. I've read a lot of X-Men books, and there have been many a time publicly on this pod where I'm like, "What is this?
Extreme X-Men.
Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this book?" She's right there
Yep.
haunting me every day. Yeah, my DC journey is still very, very new. I've read, absolute stuff, and we've read some Batman, and I'm digging more into Batman now. I've read some Supergirl, but like the knowledge that I have is like zip zero zilch. I know nothing about Green Lantern. So this was the first Green Lantern story I've ever read. I liked it a lot, I will say, but I was just like, what does all of this mean? Where are the skin tight suits? Like, why? Because I know that there are so many people who have the powers, but I was like, and I feel like I still know nothing about the powers really from this, which I don't think the powers were the point. But DC's world is far bigger than I really expected it to be. Which sounds kind of dumb, and I'll admit I am kind of dumb when it comes to DC. Yeah, what I've read so far, I've really enjoyed, and I understand why people like to argue about the DC versus Marvel because it just is a completely different vibe.
You know what's interesting is that like when I first got into comics, it was right when Batman the New 52 came out. So like all the New 52 titles had just dropped. That's when I had just started getting into comics, and I was pulling everything from DC. I didn't know anything about Marvel. So like from like 2010 or whenever that, like around 2010 to like 2016, I was exclusively like DC. And then I took a break from comics, and then COVID hit, and I was like, cool, we're gonna get back into comics. And obviously the Fantastic Four too, but then during COVID, all I read was Marvel stuff, except for like Nightwing and like the occasional Batman book. And so I just find it funny that I like flip flopped from both. So, but I know more about Batman than I do know anything else, which isn't a lot. It's not really, it's not a flex or anything. It's just more I know more about Batman and Nightwing, and that's really like I scratched the surface of DC. So
Are you primarily a DC reader, Finn, or do you like have a lot of Marvel books that you like too, or like other publishing houses?
I mean, I mainly read DC, but I don't stray away from Marvel and other publishers. I just have kind of groups or people that I stick to in Marvel, rather or compared to DC, where I'd like to branch out. Marvel just scares me a little bit because there's a lot of characters that I don't know if I will like. So like I don't branch out. Like I don't really read Iron Man. I don't really read like I don't really read Avengers books. I like X-Men, and then I like Captain Marvel a lot. So I like have my like little picks. I'll read those, and then like I'm a little bit afraid to branch out.
That is incredibly valid. There's a lot that I don't like when I have tried to branch out. I'm not a Captain America fan. I'm not an Iron Man fan. I'm any of the big superhero cops I don't really love that much, Not because they're cops, but just those stories are so different than like the drama of the X-Men, which is what I grew up on, and it's such a different vibe. But yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like the reflection of that with when it comes to Marvel and DC because there's so much that I want to try, but I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous about it. Like I've avoided Green Lantern forever, and then I was like, well, he's gay, so I guess I'm gonna try it. I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did, but Before we dive into the book, what is everyone pulling this week? Do you have any books that you're super excited about that's coming out?
Ben, I will let you go first. My list is very short.
Okay, mine's kind of long.
Mine's always long, so you'll fit right in.
Definitely excited for Barbara Gordon Breakout #2. First issue was okay. I'm excited to see more about it though. Absolute Catwoman, Daredevil. Let's see. Fury of Firestorm. That's been really good.
Yeah, it
Bleeding
really
Hearts.
has been.
Mhm.
Sorry, I dropped a whole bunch of these titles, and I'm just like, why did I drop you? Oh yeah, because I got back into Pokemon.
That's so valid. Get it? I just picked up a bunch of titles, so like I'm like opposite.
That's fair.
Supergirl, Alias, Red Band, that's been pretty good too. The Justice League Dream Girls issue #2, loved that first issue. Ragdoll was in that issue. He made a cameo.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I read that book and did not even realize. Okay, period.
Yeah. Scandal Savage was also in there too, and she's also from Secret Six. Love her. Captain Marvel Dark Past as well. The Supernatural Castiel special. That book, the Supernatural book, has been like wishy-washy for me, but like I'm excited because it's Castiel. So
That's very, very valid though. Very
I
valid.
love Castillo. The years of shipping trauma. I wasn't even an avid fan of the show, but anytime they were mentioned, I was like, I'm here, I'm sat, I'm in the culture to be devastated at the end. Can't imagine watching the
Yep.
whole thing. Cannot imagine that and getting what
It
y'all
was
got.
something else.
I lived through it a bit with the TV show Merlin, so I've already been outed on this podcast as a Merlin fan. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna embrace it.
You know, I think I like legitimately called you out on that too. I was like, you probably watched Merlin, huh?
In the most cavalier way. You were like, you probably watched Merlin. So casual. And I was like, you've spoken about something I hadn't thought about in years.
Garrett, we're both from Tumblr, like 2010 Tumblr. Okay, of course you watched Merlin,
Mhm.
but
We have masters in yearning, you know? So I understand the supernatural flight. Was that your full list, Finn?
And then Action Comics, and that's it, I believe.
is Mark Waid still writing that?
Yes, and it's still pretty good. The Reign of Superboy stuff is actually pretty interesting. I thought maybe I
okay.
wouldn't like it, but then I tried it out, and it's actually pretty good.
Good to know.
That's good to know because I saw that on DC Universe
Hmm.
the other day, and I was like, should I start this? Because there were so many already on that app. I do like that a lot of their comics come so fast versus Marvel on Universe Infinite or whatever it's called.
Do you have like the top tier one? The top tier one? The little subscription? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. So like I
6 months.
I know, me too. And I'm just like, do I pay extra? I'm like, I don't even use you, but do I pay extra to have the ability to read them if I want to? No, that's dumb.
I upped mine recently because I've been working through a lot of old Batman art. Yeah.
You haven't told me about these Batman arcs. I'll have to
It's been very slow. I'll say that. It's been slow.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
something because those books are heavy as hell. Let me tell you. The next
Are
one
they?
is The Killing Joke,
Read
and I've just been
Batman
putting
or
it off.
Bruce Wayne.
You read what?
I read Bruce Wayne Burger Fugitive like over the span of a year. It
I
took
like
me a
that
year to
so
read it
much
all.
though. It was so good. It's so
It's
good.
so good.
So good. So good.
I'm excited to be able to understand all the things that people say are so good, but they're like I've been baffled by how heavy Batman stories are. Like
What did you
even
just
Year
read? Oh,
Year
okay.
One
Okay.
and The Man Who Laughs.
That's fair.
So those are big old thick, heavy books. But good. But good. Marsh, what are you pulling for the week?
So I only have 3 pulls this week because I have cut way back. But we'll see. We'll see if I go to the shop and just grab things off the shelf. Who knows? But I probably will. I have The Orc #5, Daredevil #3, and Speed Racer #9. That's it.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I do not have the willpower. I do not.
Well,
Mine is long.
my list before that though, before last week when I talked to you about cutting all of my books though, I think I had like Absolute Catwoman. I had a couple other books that Finn named, plus those. I think I had like 10 or 11 books. I was like, I cannot.
You're not getting Absolute Catwoman?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
It's on my list. I probably will. It's not on my list right now.
I understand. I'm doing Daredevil #3, X-Men #31, Wolverine #21, Black Cat #11, Bishop #1, Captain Marvel Dark Past #3. Holy God. Okay, thank God. That's all Marvel. That is all Marvel. I have no Image books this week. DC Absolute. Wait, Absolute Batman 21. Yeah. Absolute Catwoman, Barbara Gordon, Breakout number 2, and Supergirl number 14. No, and Justice League Dreamgirls number 2. So yeah, however many that is, it's a thick week for me.
Wait, does Absolute Batman come out this week? Is it?
That's what it says on Comic Geeks. It says June 10th.
Okay, well, I'm
Unless my
picking up
Comic
that
Geeks
too.
is lying to me.
I'm picking that up too, if that's coming out this week.
I feel like we just read it like a week ago.
Some of these,
Again, time is flying this year.
that's true. Very, very true. Also, real quick, have y'all seen the Dan Morris swimsuit cover for Nightwing?
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I hadn't even seen it yet, and I had that bitch pre-ordered immediately.
I really want the Batman one. That Batman cover makes me feel things that I did not know I could feel. I was like, oh my God. Why do I love Bruce Wayne this much now?
That's
Because
funny.
for years I was just like, that's that guy. That's DC Tony Stark. And then I'm like, I would hold him in my hands and protect him. He's very big though.
Yes.
So, it's metaphorical holding. But all right. Are y'all ready to dive into Alan Scott, the Green Lantern? I'm gonna do a brief little summary of this book, and then we'll dive in. Alan Scott, the Green Lantern is a book that asks what it was really like to be a gay man in America during the 1940s. Alan Scott at this time is already an established superhero, but beneath the confident public image, he's carrying secrets that could ruin his life if they ever came to light. When a mysterious threat connected to his past resurfaces in the form of people he had been with being murdered, Alan is forced to revisit some of the most important and painful moments of his life, including a romance that shaped him forever. This series balances superhero action with a deeply personal story about identity, love, and the pressure of living in a world that doesn't accept you. But before we dive into any specific moments or details, what was everyone's general takeaway with this? Like, how did you feel about it, writing wise, plot wise, and then just like, if you liked it in general?
I really liked the book. I thought it was, especially like the first 3 issues, those were a highlight for me. Those were definitely my favorites. I love those first 3. I actually had to take a break after reading those and then continue the next day because I was like so devastated and touched by them. This was like devastating, but also kind of like, I don't know, I just felt very heard. I felt very seen. So it was also kind of comforting in that sense. Also, the art was incredible.
Agreed. I really liked the art a lot. I also really liked it. I read the first issue last night, actually, and the second I finished it, I messaged Gare and I was like, I need a break. Like, I was not ready for how the first issue was ending, and I was like, I need a break from this. But I picked up the rest of it today and read it while my son was napping. And much like you, Finn, I liked the first 3 issues a lot. Like, I think those were my favorite ones. And then as like we slowly got towards the crux and like where we were going with the rest of the issues, I was like, I am not happy. I am angry. I was so angry. But all in all, I really, really liked it. I wasn't sure what to expect from it just because the only Green Lantern I've really ever read is Kyle Rayner. Obviously, this is a way different book than 90s Kyle Rayner, but it was very touching and just something that I guess I've never read in a comic book before either. So I really, really liked it a lot. What do you think, Gare?
I agree. I liked it a lot. I did feel a lot of things as we read it. I like both of you guys, I had to take a break after the first issue, and then also after the second issue, I had to take a little break. Finished it up today at work, which, in hindsight was a terrible idea because I was like, oh, I have to be present here. But I'm devastated. The book was mostly a character study on Alan that was like wrapped up in this mystery. I felt like it was really romantic in a lot of ways. I thought it was really heartbreaking in a lot of ways, and I just thought it was like a really beautiful, nuanced introduction to this character because I've never seen this character before, and I found it interesting because I've not read any Green Lantern. And while I'm still confused about like the power sets and everything, that's not really talked about a whole lot in here. I really, really like the world that I've been introduced to when it comes to like, they kind of hinted at Alan's energy was the reason why like the green chose him, and the red chose the other person, for very different reasons. And so I'm interested in that because it seems like the power sets are kind of based off of emotions. Am I wrong in that? That was kind of the vibe I got.
I do believe each ring is like a different emotion. If I remember correctly. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, because the red was like the anger, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Red
And
is
so,
rage, I think.
yeah, Really interested in it. Overall, I thought it was a really great book. There are a lot of moments that I want to talk about. Starting, would you guys categorize this book as a superhero story? Like, yeah, he's technically a superhero, but like this was like a tragic, like Shakespearean kind of romance to me in some of the most painful ways.
It's what you just described with like sprinkled in like, oh yeah, we're a superhero. It's like, oh
Mhm.
yes, let me just sprinkle like the little salt.
Yeah,
Let me
have
twirl with this
have a
cape for a
little
moment.
power with your gay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Just
That's how I love my gay, with a little bit of power, if I'm being honest.
exactly.
As an X-Men baby. I'm gonna go ahead and dive right into, like, some specific things that I talked about. I chose this book specifically because I had read that it had some beautiful trans rep in it, and I kinda wish that I had dove into it, so I wanna apologize for how sad the trans rep ended up being, and then I have a question about, like, the end of it. But there's a character in this for anyone who's listening. Alan Scott enrolls himself in Arkham Asylum in, like, the criminal deviancy section for conversion therapy in, like, the 30s or 40s. I'm not sure about the time period. I can't remember exactly when it was. I know most of this book takes place in 1941, and Alan's roommate is this trans woman named Billy, who is his best friend in there, and is just a really beautiful character that's around for an issue and has a very, very tragic ending. She is what is that word called? Where they stick the thing in the eye? What is that called?
Lobotomized.
Yes, yeah, she's lobotomized. And I was like profusely sobbing over this character that I'd known for like 15 pages, 20 pages, however long. How did y'all feel about Billy when you were reading this? And do you think the panel at the end means that Billy found her way back to her trans identity?
I like to think so. That's how I like to think of it as. I like to think that like it seems like everybody kind of got their like happy ending. Well, Alan also said that he traverses time. So maybe he was able to go back and fix that. And wait, so that's what I choose to believe after we ended the book. But also, yes, if I didn't if I didn't have to finish the issues before we had to record tonight, I would have also taken another break after this issue. But it was one of those I was like, I have to read these so we can talk about them. But no, that was a lot. Honestly, these whole 6 issues were a lot, a lot more than I thought they were going to be. But yeah, the whole and especially after Alan and Billy had their little argument, their little spat like that hurt even more for me. So I was very hurt. What about you, Ben? What were your thoughts?
Took notes while I was reading this because I was like, I'm gonna like I need to write down what I'm feeling. So the majority of the things that I wrote were about Billy because I love her so much and I bawled my eyes out reading this issue. Something about like her being the kind of catalyst for that step of acceptance for Alan really did something for me. And, like, when I was a kid in, like, middle school, I was, like, one of 2 openly queer kids in my school, and, like, my class was huge, like, I'm talking 500 people in my class alone. So, a lot of people, did not like me very much, and so, like, like, saving grace was seeing older, trans people online because at the time I was going exclusively by he, him. So, I would see older trans people online and be like, "I'm not gonna be stuck in this environment forever." Like, these people are out. These people live their lives. I will get to that point eventually. And like specifically, I wrote down specifically the quote, she was sentenced to death for her shame was like that like made me cry. That was like so sad. I I love her so much and I choose to believe that she is happy, she's wonderful, she's living her dream life because I can't take it if that's not the case.
I agree. I also had not thought about the time travel, even though you're right. Like that is what Alan was talking about on those last few pages. But I didn't realize, like, it didn't click in my brain that maybe he went back in time to help Billy. And like seeing her at the end, like in a club singing in the full makeup and the hair and the dress, like just yeah. I've cried a lot reading it. I got emotional listening to y'all talk about it. I was like, oh God, I don't know how I'm gonna do this whole episode. Thank you for sharing that with us, Finn. And yeah, again, I apologize for how sad this book was. I really should have read it before I said, we're reading this because it fucked me up today on a pretty big level. In a lot of ways, there were a lot of things throughout this book. For everyone who hasn't read it and isn't going to read it, a lot of this book centers around a mystery in the present, not our present, but like Alan Scott's present, where he is trying to figure out who this serial killer is that's killing people that he has felt love for. They keep showing up dead. His very first love in the book that like makes him realize he's queer when he's like serving in, is it the army, the Marines? He's serving in some type of military branch. And he falls in love with a guy there. He dies, and it that's the catalyst for him going to conversion therapy, which the whole conversion therapy of it all was really, really rough to read. But there's this mystery throughout. And it is revealed at the end of the second act of the story, I think around issue 4, that the serial killer, in fact, is his first love. And he is now the Red Lantern. I know that you felt angry, Marsh, but do you want to go into detail on the feelings on that?
I think what really made me the most angry about it was the fact that I can't. His name is it John? John, right?
Johnny Ladd,
Johnny Ladd.
aka
What made me so angry was the fact that it was all, at least in the beginning, it was all like a ruse, right? So he's actually like a plant from Russia to get the red mist, the Red Lantern stuff out of the ocean so that the Soviets could have them. And he was supposed to do it by any means necessary. And once he saw Alan, he was like, I can basically play you like a fiddle. And I was like, I hate you. I hate you. Just to be able to prey on people's emotions like that is just so gross. And that just made me so angry that like that was a plot point in there, I guess, just because like I guess it makes sense like because of when the time period is, but like the fact that was like a cat, like some sort of like big plot device, I was just so angry at it. And then Alan still loves him, which made me even more angry. Those are my thoughts. Ugh, so angry.
What about you, Finn? How did you feel about that reveal?
I actually wrote down, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I think I don't like it. It made me feel so many things. I was like, I wish that was not the plot of this book. Like, I wish that did not happen. I wish it was somebody else. Like, I can't take that right now.
I agree. I will say I like that we didn't live in that for very long because I was really angry and was like, I don't want to even do the pod on this. Like that's how mad I was at first because I was like, I've been tricked. I was like, is this a queer writer? What are they doing? But we didn't live in it very long. So when that is revealed, he's like, Johnny, aka Vlad, is like, I'm not like that anymore. I have a wife. And I was like, because it's like one thing if you were pretending to be gay, but it's like, and excuse my French, how many people suck a dick to pretend? First of all, I was gagged by that. Like like do Russian spies commit as deep as he committed? Because they were like in love. They were doing all kinds of stuff. You know, you don't see it on the page, obviously, but it was a sexual relationship. They were naked together for most of their time together in this book. And then I thought it was really smart to have Alan be such a like investigative character that he like it seemed like he purposely brought up the lake house that he bought to see how Johnny would react, and the wall crumbles instantly because he like speaks about a specific very blissful time from their past together and like tells him that he bought this lake house after Johnny died because he felt like a part of him was still there. And so you see that it's not, a straight Russian spy who's like fully taking advantage of him. It's in fact a closeted Russian spy who did take advantage of him, which still sucks, but it made the story a lot more nuanced for me as someone like who lives in the South, and the vast majority of queer people my age here are either out or heavily closeted, like to the point where like they have whole separate accounts that their face are never on and they're still reaching out to men, but like their families can never know. Like it's stuff like that, you know? So I was like, I instantly knew this character. And like, sometimes when you are holding on to something so violently and so tight to your chest, it makes you do questionable things. And so he was trained to be a spy, but he also had this huge secret. And also in Russia, don't they like kill you for being queer over there or put you in jail? Like there's a lot
Mhm.
going on in Russia. So I will say that I was angry at him, but I cannot fault Alan for still loving him. In fact, I wrote a whole paragraph about that. So when you brought that up, I was like, I'm glad that you felt that too. I thought it was beautiful that despite everything Johnny has done as Red Lantern, Alan still loves him and understands the rage inside of him is from the closet that he is still in. He's married to a woman and even tries to convince Alan that he never loved him, not to mention, the murders. Like, this is, like, unequivocally a bad dude. And Alan still loves him. And I wanted to ask you guys, like, how y'all thought that was handled. Does it send a toxic message that he still wants the best for him? Like, is it toxic that he still wants the best for him? Or is it just kind of incredibly true to like what it is to love someone, not even as a queer person, but just like as a person in general? Like, we love people in our lives that have done shitty things. And I relate to it in the way that, like, I know in my heart that people can grow and change if they are watered in the correct way. And even though Johnny has committed these things and caused this much pain, Alan is still watering him. So I just want to know how y'all felt about that. And is it problematic of me to have loved that dynamic of it by the end? Like Alan's fortitude there.
I don't think it's problematic at all. Actually, I think it's quite beautiful, and I think it's very says a lot about who you are as a person. And I love that you said all that because I think that's very true. And I never kind of like thought about it at that level. I was just kind of like, that's very sweet that he still loves him despite all these things. But I think that's actually handled great. I think it's fantastic. I think it's important to still be able to hold, like, people in a positive light if they've done something wrong because we are human. Our behaviors are fluid, our mindsets are fluid. Like, he was being taken advantage of by his government, by the people who hired him. It doesn't mean that that's who he was, and I love that Alan also saw that, and I love that Alan is so full of love in that aspect too.
Agreed. I don't think it makes you a toxic person. I think just like Finn said, it shows your character and who you are and things like that. But I also didn't think about it that way either. Much like I didn't really even put together why he was the Red Lantern for the rage. Like you said that he had rage because he was closeted. That didn't even that wasn't even in my brain until you said it. And I was like, oh, this makes way more sense now. I just assumed he became the Red Lantern because he was taken by I don't even know what it was called. I'm just gonna call it the Red Mist. He's taken by the Red Mist. So being able to put that together in my head, I was like, a lot of this actually makes a lot more sense from like a story perspective in my brain. But I do also think that it is beautiful that Alan was still able to have love for him no matter what he did. Just because, again, like Finn said, we're all human. We all make mistakes. Granted, Johnny made lots of bad mistakes.
Murder.
Murder is
so
bad.
many murder.
But it still shows a side of Alan that is able to see the goodness in people and still be able to bring it out in people, even if they think that they're already gone.
Alan never has anything bad or negative like attitudes towards anybody in this book, really. Even when he's in Arkham in conversion therapy, he never has any bad feelings towards any of the people that he's with. He's respectful. He only harbors those negative feelings towards himself. He only says that he wants to be normal, but he never applies that to anybody else. And I think that sometimes that can be tricky, especially when you are doubting yourself so much and you just want to be normal. I think it's easy to like inflict that onto other people and can maybe like build feelings of resentment and stuff like that. So like Alan, it was just so like full of love and positivity in this book, and I really love that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely with that because there are many moments in this book where Alan doesn't like see the light of what really is happening until it's like to take care of someone else. Like him not being able to come to terms with what was really happening in conversion therapy until Billy was hurt, you know? And then like leading that entire uprising in the name of Billy. I just thought that was incredibly beautiful. And there's so much about his character that is so beautiful in that way. His friendship with the like cab driver who kept saying Moida. Like I don't even know who that guy was. But I loved him and I loved their relationship because I just thought this was so excellently written, like throughout. We have read some things on here that have not been great, and this one was a really big surprise for me. And I was like, is it because I'm reading it through my big gay brain? Is that why I'm loving it so much? But it feels validating to know that everyone enjoyed it, even though it was really sad in a lot of ways. Were there any other specific moments throughout this that y'all wanted to talk about? I apparently only wrote down those three.
Actually, I really liked the inclusion of the Spectre, and specifically when the Spectre was talking about like like God in quotes, him talking with Alan was like kind of devastating for me. When he said he reiterated what Johnny had said: "If God didn't want you to love, then why would He let you?" And like that was like
Mhm.
you didn't need to reiterate that. You didn't need to put that in there. That was really heartbreaking. I really enjoyed that issue. When he first popped up, I was like, "Oh, what's this gonna be like?" But no, like that was incredible. I loved it.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I forgot to Google who who is that? Who is the Spectre? Because I really liked him, but he freaked me out. Like, and I was like, this is someone that knows all of your tea at any given moment. And I was like, who is this? Do y'all know who that is?
I don't.
I am not very well versed on the Spectre. I know very surface level stuff. Like I know that he's kind of like deals with people. I know a lot of times he deals with people who are like maybe on the edge of their lives or like are in a really really dark place. That's like where he's popped up in stories that I've seen. I'm not very well versed, but I know he's like cosmic and like greater power thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Cosmic. Cosmic is fun. I do love a cosmic. So, but do y'all know, is the Spectre like in any like modern comics, or is that more of a Justice Society thing? Because I mean, Alan Scott showed up in Batman recently, but I had never heard of him before that.
Either it just happened or it's currently happening or about to happen, but in the JSA book that's going on right now by Jeff Lemire, he's in that or will be in that or was just in that at some point.
So I've just Googled the Spectre. The Spectre is a powerful DC Comics entity, the embodiment of God's vengeance, bonded to a human soul to punish the wicked. Originally the murder detective Jim Corrigan, he later bonded with Hal Jordan and Crispus Allen, which we saw him as Crispus, remember?
In
No?
Gotham
In
Central.
Gotham Central, yeah. Among others, using near omnipotent powers to enact divine judgment, often with ironic and deadly results. His abilities include reality, matter, and time manipulation, but he is limited by divine law and can be affected by powerful magic or artifacts. So he's essentially the embodiment of God's vengeance. So kind of
Which
like,
is a crazy concept.
but kind of like Moon Knight, right? Moon Knight's like Khonshu's like embodiment of his vengeance, just like in a different way. I say that as someone who doesn't know really much about either one of those characters, so don't come after me with your pitchforks, people. I just am trying to put things together.
I don't know anything about Moon Knight.
I've
He
just read
screams a lot in Rivals.
just read Jed McKay's run, so I can't really say anything else.
I've read Jeff Lemire's run. I did not know that Jeff Lemire was currently doing a JSA book, and I kind of want to get it because I really liked all of the scenes with the other JSA members. Like that scene with Jay Garrick Flash, I was like, I know you from the CW, sir, and I was invested. Like I kind of like those Golden Age vibes, right? Is Golden Age the correct era?
Yeah,
I really enjoyed those vibes.
agreed. A different vibe, right? So like it's supposed to take you back to like the 30s and the 40s. So like it's a whole different like I keep saying vibe, whole different vibe than 2026. So it's just kind of cool. Those are my thoughts.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I read the first arc of Jeff Lemire's JSA and it was very good. Issue 6 broke my heart though.
Okay. Good to know about the
Noted.
heartbreaking.
Noted.
I'll probably dive into that this week because yeah, again, I've never really read any of that kind of like stuff. And is it set back in the like 40s or 50s? This current
Um,
Lemire run?
So the first part of it isn't. It's like right kind of like in the middle of Absolute Power. So like the first issue was like a little bit confusing for me, but there was a whole arc, JSA Year One that he did that just finished up a couple of months ago. But yeah, JSA Year One that he just did. So that will probably be set then. I haven't read it yet though. What hit home for me too was like the usage of like treatments in the conversion therapy in Arkham when we saw. I majored in psych, but I minored in health and human services, and I took a lot of classes about like developmental disabilities and like stuff like that. And so like I learned a lot of history about different techniques and quote unquote treatments that were used, and like it was all like very accurate, which is like I should assume because like I assume these people do their research when they write these. But it was just that hit another place in my heart because those were real things. Those were real, and I think it's important to show that it was like it was bad, it was terrible. People were treated horribly and people were abused, and I think that it's just important to show.
Agreed.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because when I was reading it and we got to the post lobotomy scene, I wondered if that was actually being done back in those days, and I wanted to Google, but I was afraid that if I Googled what was really happening, that it would be like too much for me to read at work, like emotionally. And so I did it. So I'm glad to know that it was accurate. Sometimes in comics though, you can tell when people don't do the research. Like sometimes you read an Iron Man book and they're not talking about all the computers or any of the sciencey stuff, and you're like, they didn't look it up, even though that's so like integral to who Tony Stark is. I'm glad to know that Tim Sheridan did his research.
No, but it's interesting that you brought that up, Gare, because and I don't know why this came to my brain. I used to be a weird film geek when I was in high school, by the way. I also really liked Sean Connery and his movies. So those two things will intersect here in a second. There's an Alfred Hitchcock film with Sean Connery in it where it's like he is like this like super angry man in New York, and essentially like the only way that they can fix it is if he gets lobotomized. And this film was like in like the early 60s, and it was still being like touted around as like a treatment to like help people. And like the fact that that really isn't that long ago is still really terrifying to me.
Yep. It's scary.
Yeah, that really isn't that long ago, and I've never really thought about that. Like 50 years ago, we
Mhm.
were shoving giant needles into through people's eyes to like heal them, and
Help
like
anger or whatever, you know. Yeah.
yeah, and I will say, someone one time there's I forget what it's called. There's a play that Sarah Rule wrote, I think, called The Vibrator Play, and it was like set during the 60s, and a lot of it's very very like psych heavy. But I think lobotomy is one of the treatments that's used, and they did it at my college when I was in the theater program. And I remember like the director talking about statistically, lobotomies were mostly used on women back in those days. Like their husbands would just casually bring them in and be like, she talks too much. And that shit is crazy to me. Like crazy. And that was not long ago. You're so right. That's terrifying. It's also like what things are happening now that like in 50 years we're going to be like, that was not that long ago. You
It,
know?
it's even more terrifying that you said that the men like their husbands were just like, you need to fix them. Like that's terrifying. The fact that 50 years ago you could just take your significant other or whatever and be like, I need you to fix them, and then make them into something completely different than who they were. Terrifying.
That was during the nuclear family that whole thing where what was that? There's a movie that came out a couple of years ago with Harry Styles and Florence Pugh in it. That was like of that time. Don't Worry, Darling, I think is what it's
Mhm.
called. It's kind of set during that time. And like that's just a scary thing to think about in American history. Like, yeah. Like we should probably not dive too deep into the history of like wrongs against women, but yeah, was really not that long ago. What would you guys give this like a ranking 1 out of 5 stars or however many 5 stars? Where would y'all put this? Because it's a 5 for me. I'm gonna be fully honest. It's a near perfect book to me. So
Okay. Bye for Gare.
emotionally, it hit every check marks for me. Like every single box, it hit him, and I was angry, but I was really really satisfied at the end. And a lot of times, I'm not with a mini series.
You know what? That's a good point. I had it at like a 4.5, but since you said that, I'm like, you know what? You're right, actually, because like, especially recently with all the Marvel minis that they've been putting out, they have not ended greatly. So yes, I think I'll also give it a 5
I
because
feel the same exact way. I was about to say 4.5. And then I was like, actually, no, you're completely right. I think this is a 5 star. Like, I think this is completely a 5 star.
After that Rogue miniseries, yeah, I will say I thought about that when I finished this today. I was like, and Rogue couldn't have done something like this?
you mean the waste of paper?
What the fuck? I'll be mad about it for a month. I bring it up every day in my head. I think about it because what do you mean? What do you mean that was the end of the book? Anyway, yeah, I just thought this was genuinely near perfect. And it like oftentimes when I read a mini, I don't want to like go back and read more about the character. You know, more than not, like that, I'm usually like, okay, I can put this aside. But now I'm like, I want to know all about Alan Scott. Like, I haven't dove in. I don't know how long he's been out queer in the comics. I'm sure it's a fairly recent thing, you know. But this was just so just perfect emotionally.
I will
It made
say,
me angry a lot too. Go ahead.
I just will say that like I know when you pitched the book, I was like, I knew that he was queer, and then I was like, but I'm pretty sure he has kids, and so like then I was like, how does this even work? So then, of course, they tied it all up in the end, which I thought was actually kind of beautiful. And so, yeah, it was really interesting because, like I said, he's had so much history previously, and then all of a sudden, he is now, or he's been queer. Sorry, and I just didn't know how it was going to work. And I just thought that the way that they like put it all together and like explained kind of like that he thought that he wasn't queer, so he ended up getting with his wife and then had kids and then realized that he was queer, and I just thought it was like a beautiful kind of a thing.
Did you have any extra thoughts, Fan, on it?
I appreciate you bringing up Marsh, the ending, and it being tied with his kids. Because I also thought that that was really beautiful, and it's important to realize that even if you are like a gay man or if you're a lesbian, you can still love other people in different ways. So it's like him saying that he still loved their mother. It was just different. It was different. It's a different kind of love, and I think that was beautiful.
I agree. I thought that I'm glad you brought it up too because I thought that was really beautiful. I also thought that it was a very beautiful way to take something that had been retconned and give it profound meaning. Because in the past we've had characters that okay, I know I talk about this on the pod. I've talked about it many times, but like the backlash about Iceman has always bothered me because it's always been there. It's always been there between the lines. That man has always been gay and closeted. Like it's always been there. And so the big angry straight bros of the world who have big reactions to people like Iceman or Alan Scott being revealed as canonically queer, this felt kind of like a response to it a little bit, and it was just done in such a masterful way that like you can't, I don't know, like people can still be mad that something was changed about their character, but it was just such, again, a very nuanced, rich story that I think cements him, and it answers all the questions. Like the didn't he have a wife and kids? And yes, unfortunately, a lot of closeted gay people do try to live that nuclear life and then realize that, this is not for me. And it was a beautiful example of how love is different for everybody. And you can love someone and then it just not work for you anymore in the way that it did, in order to be who you truly are. And so, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I had forgotten to take a note on that because I thought that was incredibly beautiful as well. Speaking of, who is his kid? What superhero is that? Because he was wearing a suit.
Obsidian.
Obsidian. Never heard of
Yeah.
Obsidian.
Both of his kids are in Jeff Lemire's JSA, Obsidian, and I forget the name of the other character.
Okay.
But yeah,
Jade.
Jade, that's what it is.
It's only 'cause I just googled it. I had no idea.
Period.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that I.
But yeah, if y'all don't have any more thoughts on this, we can move into our pop culture pictures of the week.
I have lore. Hold on about their kids. Hold on.
Ooh, okay.
Sorry. Okay.
No.
So
I love a lore.
So their mother, they're twins. First off, the kids are twins, and Rose Canton, who is their mother, is a former villain known as Thorn. And Alan didn't know that he had kids until he was an adult. Crazy, or until they were
What? Like
until they were adults. Sorry.
until they were grown.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, okay, is it like a time displaced thing or well, the DC time scale is different than Marvel, right?
I
Because
think
so much of the
so.
story took place in 1941 and
Mhm.
Alan hasn't really aged that much. I'm assuming DC's answer is like superheroes age significantly slower, like Carol Danvers in the MCU.
I mean, Batman doesn't age, so I mean, I guess.
I can't even dive into that, honestly. If I think too hard about ages in time, it's hard. It's hard. I feel like the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with all the lines that he's
Mm.
pointing at. That's how I feel when I start doing that.
Thanks for that lore, by the way, because that name sounded familiar. She is actually in a couple issues of Birds. I don't know if it's the same Thorn, but
Oh,
she was there.
ET.
I'm gonna keep an eye out when we read it then. Also, I just found out the other day there's a whole second Birds omnibus that's coming out. I didn't realize that Gail's run was that long.
He wrote for a long time, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
it's like 50, 60 issues.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
a lot
Well,
for like a more current run. That's crazy.
Mhm.
when did
Hmm.
that start? What year did that start? Was it like late 90s?
Dixon started in 1999, and then Simone hopped in, I wanna say it was either, like, 2001 or 2003.
Okay. Around the time that the TV show came out?
Yes.
Well, I think about it all the
Honestly,
time.
let me admit that I haven't watched it.
Okay, period. I would love an
My
update
homework.
if you ever decide to watch it because it's only one season and it is crazy. It's like the CW verse, like it was like when WB was like playing around with creating some type of CW verse, and they came back. Like they were in, like Huntress was in the Arrowverse later, played by the same actress in like one of the crossover episodes. I remember.
There's a lost Aquaman pilot from that time too, by the way.
Oh, I have it on iTunes. I bought it.
Okay.
iTunes.
Okay.
With
okay.
Justin Hartley.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes. Is it being Green Arrow and Smallville? Right? Yes.
Mhm.
Bam.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's so wild that you said that. And that's also embarrassing that I just said I bought it on iTunes.
I mean, I
did.
I think it
In
was
the late
free.
early
I think it was
2010s.
free though on iTunes. I had it too. Unless
Oh,
you
it
paid
might
for
have
it.
been.
Because I got it for free.
If it was free, I definitely got it. If it was a free pilot, I definitely, because they used to do that. They used to be like a like an episode a week that was free or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They might still do that. I don't know. I don't get on iTunes ever anymore. But yeah, if you decide to watch Birds of Prey, please post a video about it because it is cool. It's just wild.
You can probably find it on YouTube.
You
I will
absolutely
watch it.
can. All right. To start to wrap up the pod, every week we do a pop culture pitch where we talk about something that we're obsessed with in pop culture. It can be comics. It can be anything you want. Marsh, do you want to go first?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think I have any.
Are you still in 007 mindset right now?
I actually haven't played it in like a week. Actually,
Okay.
no, this weekend. So I'm real deep into the Pokemon TCG, not just like the cards, but like actually playing. And so there was a special event in Italy this weekend, and they stream it on the Pokemon YouTube channel, and I watched it. And you guys aren't gonna probably know what I'm talking about, but somebody won the whole thing with a deck called Hops Trevenant, which is like crazy because like there's like this other deck that's like super powerful and it was supposed to beat him, but then like the top two decks weren't even the deck that was supposed to be like the final two people, and so like it was a lot. So anyway,
Did it feel like the Super Bowl for you?
no, I just find it super interesting, and it helps me kind of like learn how to play the game better because like it's all about kind of how you time what you're doing. My brain can't think of the word that it's sequencing. It's all about sequencing what you're doing and making sure that you're making the right plays in the right moment. So I don't know, and it's just fun to see other people play different decks. But yeah, that's all I got. It's talking about Pokemon TCG, and I bought these two cards today from the card shop. Focus,
Okay.
and it's a shekel.
I love that
Oh,
Chuckle
so
I
cute.
love that.
So I bought those today. That's my pop culture pitch. Is y'all should get into Pokemon. Okay.
And what about you? What are you obsessed with pop culturally right now?
Well, the Summer Games Fest just happened, and they announced a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake. I am so excited. And what's really funny is that, like, literally the night before, me and my partner were playing Code Veronica, and we got stuck on the boss fight with Claire in the like airplane with the tyrant. Yeah, we had 0 ammo and 1 health item, and we were stuck there.
Hopes and dreams. Hopes. And dreams.
So probably just gonna have to restart the entire game.
Actually, to hop
Wait,
back.
like you would have to restart?
Yes, because
Uh-huh.
there's no like we're soft locked. Like
Oh, period. Rest in peace. You know. You know. Marsh, what were you saying?
Not to hop back on my pop culture thing of the week. You brought up the summer games. The Wolf Among Us Part 2 has finally gotten a release date or has gotten announced, and the way that I have been waiting for that for literal years, and someone I had seen it on TikTok, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll replay the game. I'll reread Fables. Let's do this. I'm here. Like, Fables is so good. So I'm super stoked.
This is me finding out live. I had no clue. Again, I'm so disconnected from anything that's not just like my specific TikTok little circle. Like I don't know anything. That's crazy. I'm so excited about that. Are we reading Fables for July? Is that what we're going to read for July?
We might have to do two.
You
We might
said
we might have to do it in 2 months. It's 150 issues, Gare.
we can read the first trade. We can just read the first trade.
We can read the first trade. No, but I want to get to when Bigby and Snow get together. The pining is so long.
You know, I do love a yard. I was raised on the yard.
But yes,
And
we can definitely read it. I'm down. July. You heard it here first. We're reading Fables Volume 1 in July.
But back to Resident Evil. This is like a source of shame for me. This is so funny. When you said Resident Evil, I got like, my body was like, because I have bought so many Resident Evil games and gotten like an hour in and just been like, I can't do it. It's too scary for me. I love horror movies. I cannot play a horror game like that. It feels too real and I cannot explain it. But it's like such a deep source of shame for me. Anytime someone gets excited about Resident Evil, I'm so jealous.
I make him play. Like, he plays, I watch. The only game that I actually played myself was 3 because I love Jill Valentine. That was literally the only reason is because I love her so much, and I was like, "I need to play the game. Sorry, like, scoot over because I need the controller now."
I'm locking in. Doesn't Jill have a Fortnite skin? Did you get that Fortnite skin when it came out?
No,
That's okay.
because I swore off Fortnite. I swore off Fortnite for years. I was like, "I'm never playing this game." And then they put the Ninja Turtles in the game, and then I got back on. I mean, not even back. I got on. I got on the game, and then my obsession with Fortnite.
That's actually hilarious, though.
I'm really obsessed with it right now. This new season and like the end of last season was really really fun. I almost wrote down Fortnite as my thing today. I didn't do it. I'm not going to go too deep, but I'm really enjoying Fortnite in my life right now. I played a little bit this weekend. I did a self care weekend, and I was like, hold on, why is this fun again? My pop culture pitch is very different. Y'all did games. I'm going to talk about the cultural phenomenon that is Love Island, another source of shame in my life. Love Island is fascinating. It is a fascinating show that started in the UK. Imagine the worst straight couples you've ever met in your life all on an island together, and they're all like fighting and like swapping partners all the time, and they film it live, and then like they edit it, and then 2 days later the general public gets it, so it's like happening in real time, and there's an episode every day of the week, a new hour to an hour and 20-minute episode every day of the week. And
That's so much.
I find myself just wrapped up in it, not really relating to anyone, but I cannot stop watching it. It is so fascinating to me. So that is my pitch is like if you have seen Love Island and you like see everyone talking about it and you're annoyed by it, I was you too. Give it one chance. Watch one episode just to see the vibes because it is unlike anything on TV that I've ever watched. It is just a crazy social experiment. They have 5 therapists on set, and if you dive into the history of Love Island, there's a reason for that. They did not used to have therapists. It is actually really tragic, the things that happened in the UK because of that show. So it's just a fascinating social experiment, and I do recommend anyone just giving it a little try because it's crazy. I saw a tweet today that was like, "Love Island is like if you could understand what Sims are saying when they're talking Simlish." And that is very, very real because they say things to each other on that show. And I'm like, are they speaking English to each other? Like they don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to dive into it too deep, but I'm obsessed with it right now. And I probably will be until the end of July because, again, it's every single day.
If one wanted to watch this, where would I consume this media?
So one would use my Peacock account that they have
Okay.
a profile on.
Okay.
So I saw
Okay.
your name the other day and I was like, oh, yeah. I let you into my Peacock. I haven't used it since last summer. So it's just weird. It's just a weird, weird show. And they
Okay.
get younger every year, which is really freaky to me. I don't love that. Like right now they're all 21, 22. And there's nothing wrong with people who are 22 years old. I will say that. But these 22-year-olds are not the most emotionally mature. So I worry for them. I just worry for them because they're like falling in love. They're with these strangers every moment of every day. And so the timeline of them falling in love is a lot faster than in real life. Because in real life, you have like, I have to wait this many minutes before I text back. And we see each other maybe twice a week when you're in the beginning of a relationship. These people are together literally 24/7. And the night that they couple up, which is the first day that they meet, usually they have to share a bed. They have to act like they've been together for so long. And so it does create this interesting, I don't know, it's just wild. It's just wild because it's kinda like the zoo when you're, like, looking through the cages at the animals and you're like,
It's
"What are they
scary.
thinking?" This time you know what they're thinking. It's weird, you know? That's how I describe it. It's like going to the zoo.
That's too
So, yeah, that's
funny.
my pop culture for pitch for the week.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Sorry, I got tickled. I got tickled. But if anyone doesn't have anything else they wanna say to go back to Alan Scott or anything else comic book wise, we could probably wrap it up here.
cool. I don't think I have anything
Yeah,
else. Ben, do you have anything?
I don't. I just want to thank you two for allowing me to be here. This was so much fun.
Thank you for coming. I
Yes.
when I decided I wanted to do a DC book throughout all of this, you were our first thought, and very very grateful that you said yes because I know you've had a very busy year. Like you just finished up school this year, right? So I know you've
Thank
had a
you.
lot going on. So thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Also, congratulations, by the way. Like that's
Yes,
not like a small thing. That's like a huge thing. So
Thank
it
you
is a
so
huge
much.
thing. We look forward to engaging with your content and seeing your journey as you go ahead. And again, thank you for being here, Marsh. Same time next week.
same bat time, same bat channel.
Awesome.